I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sean Joyce, Ed Simeon with you here live, albeit just a little bit late from the Saville Grand Prix here on Curling Stadium, Edmonton. Got the final draw, round-robin action for the men underway already into the second end here. Korey Dropkin against Takumi Maeda, and huge playoff implications in this game, Ed.
Oh, yeah, it looks like we could have a huge log jam at 2-2 by the end of this round robin. So getting that third win, absolutely enormous here. And it looks like we're already about halfway through the second end as we pick this up.
We're joining in the second end. Maeda did get the single in the first. Dropkin's got last rock here in the second, and he is throwing the red stones. And it looks to be, I think it's Dropkin's stone sitting, shot rock, but there is a double available, and it looks like that's what Maeda's playing. And, you know, if you make the double, you'd be awfully close to catching the yellow, or pardon me, the red at the back of the 8 foot as well. If you make all three of them, Maeda could be sitting 3 after this. It's close. 1 and 2. It does touch the third one. Doesn't move it all the way out. Moves it back a little.
Yeah, it's just that close to being in complete control of the house there, but still a very nice shot.
Yeah, it's one buried right now and tough to get at. Apologies for the late start. We had some technical difficulties, so we'll try to catch you up on what we're looking at here as far as the whole event is concerned. The 16 teams started on the men's play just yesterday morning, looking for 8 spots in the playoffs. We know coming into this draw, only one team so far has been eliminated. Korey Dropkin at 2-1 controls his own fate. If he wins, he will win his pool and he could move into the playoffs. Maeda already has a record of 3-0, so he knows he's got a piece of the playoffs somewhere. And then, you know, as you said, Ed, a lot of teams could end up at 2-2 after this draw, and this is where I'm going to say it out loud because we don't actually know. I don't see any place in the draw for them to play tiebreakers, so I believe the tiebreaker is the cumulative draw to the button, and I like saying those things out loud because if I'm wrong, Jerry will come on somewhere and correct us, and then we'll have the right information.
Yeah, let us know if we've completely got that wrong. But
I don't see any place in the draw for them to play tiebreakers, and boy, it could be a logjam. So it's always exciting for us to watch. Anyway, you can start talking about playoff implications from the first game, and here it is. You know, we're just a day and a half later from when the opening draw was, and you can see how big each game is when there's this many teams that could be tied. 9 teams, I think, came into this draw with a record of 1-2, but 8 of them are playing head-to-head, which means guaranteed 4 of those teams are going to 2-2.
While we've been going over those, a couple shots into the top of the house, looks like we're getting a little battle of who can get the better angles here in front of the tee line. As I think the Dropkin team was a little heavy on their first. Looked like they were trying to set up a freeze and push that back to the back 8 instead, or back 4 instead, but still a good shot. And then
I don't think they mind pushing it back.
Not at all, no.
Yeah. Now you're in this spot here for I knew this from yesterday too, and I can't remember. They have some subs playing. Thomas Howell is listed as the lead. He's not playing lead. In fact, that looks
so
like he
who's
just threw
playing
the
with him
third
there?
stones.
Yeah.
And
So that means
I
that,
did the game. I did the game yesterday with Dave.
That means that Stepper is not there, I assume. Or did they move the line? No, he's there. I see him.
Well, hang on. One of the subs is not wearing. He's wearing the jacket of the player he's replacing because they don't have an extra one. So I did the game yesterday with Dave Schmel, and he's from the same club as one of the guys, so he knew who was playing, and of course I've forgotten.
Yeah, these are locals to me, but I don't know who's subbing in to. A couple of them are local.
Yeah,
Corey played nearby, and so did Andrew. But
okay, pretty sure the guy wearing Mark Fenner's jacket is not Mark Fenner.
Okay.
Nice little freeze tap made there. It looks to be the Yellowstone just delivered, belonging to Maeda, that sits shot rock. Now, can Korey Dropkin get to the face of that with enough weight to move it? Because there's a chance to sit 3 if he could.
Yeah, he's certainly looking at a couple different options to get there too, but hard to say. I think from both the overhead and the long view, you may be able to get to nose on that, which, your red jams on the back yellow, you're sitting there, the yellow squirts out, and as you said, sitting 3 at the end of that if that works.
Even if you don't get it all the way out for now, if you just release it with your first one, it's in pretty good shape. He's also looking at the angle run on the red. The problem is you can only see about an inch of that red stone.
Yeah.
You can make it with that, but it's really tough. And to play the tap on the yellow, he really needs to get to the face. If he stays anything on the high side at all, he'll just angle it onto the red and leave the same angles there.
Right. I think the concern for that is not, the high guard is there. The rock, even the top 8, kind of affects that because you really can't. There's no real way to get over the face. You're not going to cross over to the low side.
For
much
sure.
at all. And so you're playing it right to the edge of the rock in the top 8.
It's that one in
probably
the top 8
there, but I think that's the concern they have. Yeah,
the one in the top 8 is probably the bigger worry than the guard.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, we said that little, that little tick where you can only see an inch of the red rock, very difficult. The one time I had the pleasure of playing against Corey, it wasn't him. It was Corey TC, because we were playing mixed doubles. He threw the last rock and made one of those on us to take a big end. So it's certainly possible, but yeah. I know that's why they're looking at it. They certainly aren't afraid to throw that, but the better setup shot, if you can make it, is the direct hit. If you
for sure.
Over nose. So,
well, and it definitely looks like it's there. It's not easy, but neither of these shots are easy.
Right.
It is Thomas Howell that holds the broom for Corey in the house. Now, he was kind of standing behind this, though they were going to play the thin shot on the red. Corey had just made his way down, and now he's come back down to the house. So if he was looking at that shot originally, it can't look good from the hack. You look at our camera view from the hack, you can't see much of that red. And when that's all you can see, you could make it with that piece, but you can't make it with that piece in quiet weight. Like, you throw bumper, and if that's all you're hitting, you're not moving. You're not moving the yellow. Like, you'd have to whip it if you were going to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Corey can't. He certainly can. He's one of the hardest throwers out there. But it makes that shot much more difficult. Like, if you're just trying to throw bumper and try to rub the edge of it, you could bring the sweepers in, and you have a higher percentage chance of making contact with that rock. Sure. You've got to whip it. It's pretty much made or missed right out of your hand. They've gone back to the shot we looked at initially. If he can get to the nose of the yellow, even if he doesn't kill it for now, just Yellow onto red, jams on the back one. That yellow should pop out into the open at the very least. And there's the potential here for a big end for Korey Dropkin. This is going to have to curl, though. He's going to stay on the high side of it.
Yeah, and where everything landed, that yellow rock's not going anywhere. Now there is the other shot, of course, we were talking about before, but you can't attack it from that side of the ice again. I don't think you're getting enough of that to, yeah.
Maeda has to be a little careful, and that's why you can see all 4 players in the house talking about it. Dropkin right now sitting second, third, and I think fourth. And
yeah, I was trying to figure that out. And they're
if you force, it's tough. It's hard to say for sure because that red rock at the top of the forfeit kind of makes it hard to see how much 8 foot you can see in front of that yellow stone, but it's 2 for sure, and it might be 3, like second, third, and fourth. And Korey does have that wick on the outside red, and I mean, if you just played a straight guard, he's going to try it because he can't hurt himself, and he might be able to get 3. So that's why they're looking at coming in. Even at that, they're talking about freezing onto their own stone, and they're a little worried that they might leave it in a spot where he could play that slash and get both of them, which, might be possible depending how the angle sits here. I don't know what else you could do. I guess the only other thing I could see is they could hit the red stone that's open in the 8 foot, try to roll into the side of the other red stone, and then that yellow on the button's never going anywhere.
Right. Yeah, it looked like they briefly considered that, but yeah, I like this better. Even as long as your thrower doesn't, as long as your shooter, I should say, doesn't over curl here. I mean, the angle you set up should jam on the back red.
Yeah, if he locks this right on the corner, there's a potential he could steal 2. This is a long ways out, though.
Oh, yeah.
It will curl coming in. Oh, it's going sideways. They might have waited too long, actually. Well, it cuts out the red over on the side, for sure.
Yeah. There's nothing for more than 2 here now because of the weight you have to throw, as you said, and how little of that red rock you're going to hit.
But I also don't see any way he can hurt himself. You take a shot at it. If you get it, you get 2. If you don't, you were giving up a steal of 1 anyway. I don't see any other shot that he's got to score.
Yeah. It might be possible to hurt yourself here.
Yeah,
it's not easy. But
could you
now
ever?
That rock is fourth, the yellow rock. It's not impossible.
Could you ever slash that thin enough? That's what I'm looking at too. To just touch that yellow, have it come back. I'm not sure you could because it's coming at such a sharp angle. That yellow, I think, would drag even if you hit it that way.
I think so, and I think you're transferring nothing to that red anyway.
Yeah.
Well, here we'll find out. So.
Well, we might not find out because I'm not sure he's going to make contact.
We're not going to make contact, no.
Slides by everything, so it's a steal of 1 for Takumi Maeda. He now has a 2-0 lead after 2 ends of play. It'll be Dropkin with last rock again in the third.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
2-0 now as we begin the third end here in the final round robin game on the men's side. The Saville Grand Prix. We talked a little bit, Ed, last end about some of the playoff implications. So let's delve into that a little deeper as we set up here in the third, because Korey Dropkin, as we said, he controls his own fate. He's 2-1, but he's now down 2-0. If he happens to fall to 2-2, first place in that pool could come to a tiebreaker. Peter Luszak is 1-2. He's on the ice right now. Ryan Jacks is 1-2. He's on the ice right now. It could end up with a three-way tie for the top of that pool. And it would be determined, I believe, again, by cumulative draw to the button to determine who wins the pool. And then, the other teams could end up in that dogfight for the other four spots. It's the winner of each pool goes through. And I believe then it's the top four teams, regardless of pool after that. And boy, if you want drama in your standings, we've got the potential for that here. Huge.
Well, Luszak down 3-0 after the first end, but Jacques did take a deuce in the first, so got at least one of those teams in pretty good position early to get that third win. And of course, one thing because of the setup here, where these teams that are pooled together are not playing each other, but are playing against another pool identical teams they play against. There's no head-to-head tiebreaker.
There's no head-to-head. Yeah, that's a good point.
At least not within your own pool for the winner of the pool. Yeah.
Interesting setup here to this end so far with now three rocks just outside the rings. This is the fifth stone of the end, so after this one comes to rest, there will be a chance to start playing hits. Makes the port with a little bit of late movement. He covers about a third of that stone. So I believe this is Andrew Stupara in the hacks. It looks like the picture I've got on my lineup card.
It looks like him, yeah.
And he's
met him. I think that's him, but it's hard to say again, as you said, if we don't know who the sub is.
And he's throwing the second stones. Mark Fenner not here, and I cannot remember who is throwing the lead stones. But he is wearing the Fenner jerseys.
Yeah. Trying to see if I recognize the gentleman. I don't want to say because I'm not even mildly confident.
If Dave Schmel was actually watching, I'm sure he'd let us know.
So it must be someone from Bucks County, or Philadelphia.
It's out of the same area for sure.
Yeah.
Oh. I got it. Lance Wheeler. I've got Jerry. A message flashing at me from Jerry, and it's Lance Wheeler is the other player, and he's wearing the Fenner jersey. So
sure, that makes sense. Yeah,
I guess since we've gone to that much trouble to make sure we've identified the Dropkin team, we should let everybody know. And apologies in advance for any of these names that I mispronounced. That was Hiroki Maeda, the second for this team throwing. The other members: Ryu Kamikawa, Asei Nakahara throws the third stones, and of course it's Takumi Maeda in the house skipping. I always have to apologize in advance for any of those names that I mispronounce, but I'll say the same thing now that anybody that's watched us has heard me say the same thing before. I think if you ask any of these players, they'll all tell you we can pronounce the names any way we want as long as we spell it right on the giant check at the end of the event.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Can't remember any time anyone's got mad at me. I've certainly mispronounced names too, doing YouTube stuff and whatnot, and no one's ever been mad. They just say, it's this, or someone helpfully comments and, fixes it.
Delicate little tap on that last one, but he didn't manage to get inside enough to roll under cover, so that redstone just fully open. Sweeping for some curl here again, trying to get to the inside, get underneath. He's going to get just to the nose. And the higher that rock climbs up in the rings, the harder it is to get to the inside too. They don't have as much room by the guard.
Yeah, even with the late swing here, I mean, you're going to have to play relatively quiet weight to get that late movement there.
Corey's looking at the double now. It's not a bad option either.
I was going to say, over. It's a yellow guard. You're getting towards the top of the house. These guards are all so tight. It's going to be hard to bury and not leave a double. And if it's their rock, it's even worse, of course. So maybe, although he's going back and forth, maybe play the double and, you still have 2 to 3 guards to work with at that point, and you may still be able to build something here.
And he's looking at hitting it, thin enough that you might be able to bring the shooter across and in off the back. So he might be looking at going over the top double. That's not bad either. Or just the short hit and roll. I think they're discussing both options there. If you're going to try to roll in off the back of the red, I think you're talking about going over the top. But just off the nose double and sit there with 3 red guards all tight to the rings, all close enough to split. It's not a bad option either.
No, either way, you're going to be in a pretty safe position for sure. With scoring potential still.
Makes the hit, makes contact with the second one. Korey Dropkin on the rush at the tee line. Gets it to the back 12. It does stay in play, and it is shot rock. That's the kind of stone that could keep you from having a chance to blank.
Yeah, and that's going to be the only concern, right? Other than that, it's not an issue in the end, but it could end up forcing you if you never end up generating anything here with all these stones out front.
Tough for Maeda to ignore them all, though, so he's going to play the hit. Can't really even play the double, because if he tries to play the double, it's probably coming back towards that yellow. Boy, this is on the outside enough. It might be coming back towards that yellow anyway. They actually switched the sweep to straighten that out to make sure it went over the top of the yellow at the back. Still, you'd have to say now it's advantage Dropkin. Do you want to come in, or do you play a split?
And exactly what Korey just pointed to, as you're saying it.
and is that split the one you want to play? Like, you could split either one of those, honestly.
Yeah, and the center line split, of course, is an easier shot. He's also
I'd be tempted.
Access to the yellow.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to split the center line one just because you have last rock here. You actually don't want to play around the middle if you can avoid it. You split that one. There you go. And you get 2 rocks to either one on either corner. That's you go back before the free guard zone even, and that's kind of the template for how you score 2 with last rock is split the house.
Absolutely. Happens all the time, even at a high level. You get the 2 in on the opposite sides of the rings, and not easy to stop the hammer team at that point from getting their deuce. Yeah, I think
it could be more than 2
because
it could very easily be more than 2 because the one rock that's going to roll over to the open side, all it takes is 1 rollout, and you've got a chance to leave another one around the corner, and you might get 3 here.
Yeah, you'll actually be in the classic setup for 3 if you make the split really good. Like as you said, having the open one, but having another one that's already buried is puts a lot of pressure on the team without hammer here.
Gonna have to curl to make contact, though.
It could go around, except it might be too heavy to stick
Yeah,
around.
he threw the weight to make the split, though. It's probably going to go right through, and it does. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Maeda wasn't willing to go around when there was 3 of them there, but now we're down to Skip Stones, and he's almost in a position where he kind of has to here. So they're talking about where do you want to put it, and you can see them gesturing. We don't really want to dead bury this. We know Korey Dropkin's very good at the runbacks. We want to just put a piece in behind. You know, you could peel another guard. The problem with that is we're late enough in the end. Korey might be able to get the blank back. So
Yeah, he'll either have the blank or if somehow he doesn't and you've only peeled 1 guard, there's still ways to get 2. I mean, you're not really shutting down the end.
Yeah, I don't think they'd straight peel it. They'd probably look to nose hit it, but still.
Mm-hmm.
It has been an interesting. It's too bad we missed the first end because from what we could see of the second and what we've seen of this one so far, there have been a lot of interesting angles set up so far, and it's always fun to watch how teams approach these shots.
Yeah, a lot of rocks in play and interesting houses for sure. 2 different houses, but 2 interesting ones for sure.
Not sure if this one's going to get by. They got to be real careful not to push it into the rings. You know, the split is still there.
It is.
I think you could come around.
Thinking about it on his second, come around first, and then.
Yeah, the fact that those are overlapped makes the come around. If you make the come around, they can't run anything back.
Right.
Ideally, looking for just a bite at the top of the forefoot, dead in behind. Korey Dropkin trailing by 2 here as we play in the third. Might have a chance to set up the Skip's deuce. With a win, he secures his place in the playoffs. With a loss, he's going to have to rely on tiebreakers. So big game here for the Dropkin team. They'd love to tie it up here in this third end. Line is close. The question is this going to stop in front of the tee line? Starting to come down now. I think they decided it's not going to stop in time. They kind of made a plan B sweep. They were going to try to take it back. It didn't get there. It's right at the tee line. That's, it looks like a good shot, but it really depends on what Maeda does here. If he sits on the face of that, you're never getting more than 1. And if he moves it a few inches, it could be another steal.
Yeah, really. Even stopping a foot earlier just is so much better there. It's unfortunate. I mean, we've all been in that situation. You get caught in between where it's a little deeper than you want it, so you want to push it deep, but it turns out when you push it, it's not going anywhere, and you end up in that. At least it's on the tee line, but still, as you said.
Yeah, for Maeda to get the steal, he's going to have to move it. And if he tries to move it, there's the chance that he flips out to the outside a little bit and leaves a shot for 2. If he just locks it right on the face, I don't know how you ever score more than the 1.
Yeah, with a 2-point lead, you'd think that would be be clear that that's the way to miss it. If you don't make it dead perfect and count, you want to be sitting on it, not make the mistake of just chipping it and leaving you open.
He's got room coming by, so they've gone to the offside sweep trying to get some curl. This is close for the line to bump it if he's got the weight. Moves it a little bit. I don't think it's quite enough. I think it looks like it's still a Dropkin stone sitting shot rock.
Still 1 red, and they're looking at the angle raise. Angle raise to get rid of that yellow. Probably the only way you can get 2 if you want to throw that. But
yeah, it's probably also the only way you can give up 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's also the only way to get yourself in any trouble here. So, yeah. Well, Corey's been he's never been shy to throw these. Even if he could get away with getting one, it would keep him in the game going for these shots. He famously did that in the Olympic trials 4 years ago. Had a chance to put John Schuster's team away with a great shot, when he could have done something a little safer. I think it was in game 2 of the 3-game series after he had won the first game, and unfortunately missed and kind of flipped the series around a bit. But yeah, this is much lower stakes, and you could just take your one here, and very much still in the game with 5 ends left, but sure, why not go for it? I mean, they're obviously more than capable of making this.
Yeah, they are. With that ice, certainly looks like he's not throwing this real hard. He doesn't need to make the shot for 2. He only needs to move the yellow a few inches. By throwing it quieter, he brings the sweepers in. We talked about that on a shot last end, and there's no danger. Even if he hits his own, I don't think he could possibly kill his own and roll out, so it's never going to be worse than 1.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a key thing here, is that you take away that danger of giving up 2 if you take the weight down a bit. Sure.
Well, they switched looking for curl early. Now they're back and forth. It's close. It's onto the yellow. Does pass it by the red. Put 2 points on the board for Korey Dropkin. Great final shot. They tie this game up after 3 ends of play, looking for a spot in the playoffs. It'll be Maeda with last rock in the 4th.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Bonspiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference. Together.
All tied up 2 apiece after 3 ends of play here. We've talked a little bit about the setup on Pool A. Korey Dropkin needing a win to guarantee himself a spot in the playoffs. Picked up a nice deuce with his final stone in the 3rd end. They call for the center guard here. It does have a piece of the center line, so it can't be ticked off that line. On the other side of this game, Takumi Maeda with a 3-0 record is atop Pool B right now. James Balance and Evan Van Amsterdam also at 2-1, and both of those teams on the ice as well. So there is the potential for a 3-way tie at 3-1 on in Pool B. Now the difference being 3 wins, I think, if I've done the math correct, will guarantee you a spot somewhere in the playoffs. So if they end up in a 3-way tie there, yes, there'll be a tiebreaker to determine who wins the pool outright. But the other 2 teams, if they should end up all tied, would have a spot in the playoffs somewhere. In Pool A, there is the possibility you could end up eliminated with a record of 2-2. So big game here for Dropkin. And you had mentioned, Ed, you were checking the scores. Peter Lushak had been down 3-0 early. He's tied 3-3 now, and Ryan Jack's up by a score of 2-1. It's really fun in these round robin pools to watch. It's scoreboard watchers paradise.
Oh yeah. Who makes the playoffs could
the playoffs,
sometimes
it changes every end.
No head to head, so you're looking at who's winning and what their draw shot challenge totals are, and
And
who
you
do
know
we
what?
need to win or lose. Sometimes combined with, not in this case because of the way it's set up, but sometimes
And
a
the
combination
players,
of head-to-head and draw shot challenge.
exactly. And the players all know where they stand in this. We actually don't have the
Yes.
information. The players know where they stand in the draw shot distance. And, they'll all tell you that we're not looking at the other games. We're just looking at our own game. We're just trying to do what we need to do. And they're all lying because they all do peak.
Yeah, I found there's periods that'll go by where you don't notice it at all, and then at some point, early in the game, you'll look over, and then you'll get in the flow of your game, and then there'll be some points where there's a minute discussion for the other team, and I've got nothing better to do. I'm gonna start looking over again. You never stop at that point.
It matters because it's not entirely in your own hands. It matters on who else does what. Unless you're the team that's sitting there that's got the overwhelming lead on the draw to the button. It matters. Just the one stone on the rings here, looking for the hit at that back of the 8-foot. Would like to hold the shooter, but this one's going to roll out of play. Now that was the 5th stone of the end. So Maeda could make a play on the guard. He's going to opt to come around it. It is the 4th.
A little
end.
early for it to be a huge factor, but the fact that it's an even end maybe.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah, I'll play for 2 here rather than kind of go straight into a blank situation.
You will see a lot of these top competitive teams that if they've got a chance to score in the 4th end, they'll play a little bit more aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
Or, any even end, really.
Yeah, especially starting 4 and then, very, very hard in 6 or 2 ends later in an 8-end game. But,
I'm on the older side of things, Ed, and in our day, we would start thinking about that with 3 ends left to go. So in a 10-end game, it would be 8, 9, 10. You're thinking about that, maybe 6, 7, 8 in an 8-end game. These top teams now, in a lot of cases, they're thinking about that in the 1st and 2nd end. Teams will win the toss, and if they've got a chance to blank the 1st, they'll take it because now they've got last rock in the even end. And all these teams are so good at generating points when they need to. The rules help. It's in a 5-rock free guard zone. If you've decided that you want to score, it's pretty hard for the other team to stop you. They've got to try to force you. They can't really try to stop you from scoring at all. They have to try to force you a single.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. There is some, even if the numbers don't say it's a huge effect, like you blank the 1st end, you're now playing an odd number of ends and you have the hammer, and if you keep it to a conventional game at that point, you're going to have it an extra time, just like if you start with the hammer and you trade all game, you get it the extra time and the extra end, same sort of scenario. Only you can't guarantee that, of course, but you don't know that there's going to be an extra end. If you did, you'd want the odd ends every time, but
I think I just spied. I think we got a sub playing on the sheet next door because that looks like that was Darren Molding I just saw in the frame as we were throwing, and I don't think he's registered on any of these teams this year.
No, I don't think so.
Or at least he wasn't at the start of the year with all the changes that have happened in lineups already this year.
Who knows?
He's playing on a team now, yeah.
Yeah, I could try to look. I'm trying to think if he ended up on a team. I don't know him that well, but a little bit. And now I'm curious if I do a little search here.
I'm sure that was him next door. So he's playing with whoever's got the purple uniforms.
So he's an alternate for Van Amsterdam.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah. So and he coaches them too. So. Yeah, because he had been playing with the Horgans for a couple of years, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Third stone's here. Maeda sitting 2 in the 4-foot. Thomas Howell looking to play the short run, but he can't see all of this red stone. Drives it across the face a little bit, enough to move the back yellow, but it is still Maeda sitting 2, and he does have last rock here in the 4th.
Yeah, and leaving that second yellow one in the back sitting second is a little dangerous because, again, it's not a rock that is going to be used against Maeda, and it is another potential counter here, especially if they stack on the top 4. Although this looks a little big, and the sweepers seem to agree there.
On the brush now, just to try not to disturb shot rock, but it's going to touch it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where it left, there's no double on the 2 and the 4 foot. There would be if the guard wasn't there. Korey looking at the run back. There's a couple of options for doubles with the run back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, without last rock here, he certainly doesn't want to lose the guard, so he's going to want to be close to the nose. Kind of looks like he's looking for the straight back, so almost nose hit. Now he's talking about the other double.
Yeah, this is a shot you only call if your team is going to make this, make contact in the back almost every time, because appeal is very, very bad for you here.
Yeah. Didn't exactly whip it down there. This is going to over curl to go straight back. Comes off the red, moves all 3 yellows, but doesn't kill any of them, and he does lose his center guard completely.
Yeah, the only saving grace is where that red rock ended up is a little awkward.
Yeah, Maeda's going to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And all the yellows are going to end up grouped. So, I mean, if you're Dropkin now, you're kind of hoping to get back to a chance at a blank.
Yeah, there's a good chance you'll have the opportunity to make a couple doubles, and you do have your. It's funny if you do that. There is a red rock just sitting on the corner of the rings that could make it a force even.
Could. Mind you, if Maeda makes this, he could be sitting 4. Dropkin's only got 2 rocks left to play, and so will Maeda. It's going to be hard to.
Yeah,
Dropkin could have to kill 5 with 2. With 2,
right? You're probably forcing him to 2 more than forcing him. Actually forcing. Yeah, even if you make 2, but it depends where the rocks end up, of course.
Yeah, it will be tough for Maeda to pass this red by without losing a yellow, either the shooter or one of the stones at the back here, because he's got to hit it very thin.
And he did.
Wow, that's a good shot.
That's a great shot.
Now, if Korey hits that right on the nose, does he get 3 of them?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. We maybe if we see the overhead again, I mean, obviously gets 2, but it might catch that one on the right side of the screen there.
Yeah, exactly.
May depend. I mean, it's probably there. It probably depends exactly where you hit that second rock.
Well, we said if he's going to get back to a blank or something like that, he's going to have to kill 5 with 2. If you could make a triple on the first one.
Yeah, you make a triple in it.
There's almost going to have to be a double available on the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Nose hit's got to be close. Korey Dropkin with his first here in the 4th end, facing 4, looking to kill at least 2, maybe 3. Got the hit, comes back, and actually dead jams on the stone at the back. So definitely it was there if he hits it right. Just a little unfortunate to dead jam it.
And now just looking for a roll. Yeah,
it does mean that for Maeda to hit, he's going to have to roll to that side. All 3 yellows are going to be on the same side of the center line, and there still could be a triple on the next.
Yeah, I'm saying you're looking for a spot where you only leave a double, and then Dropkin would presumably in all likelihood just take the double and concede giving up 2. But you're right, there's a lot of spots you leave it where a triple's available.
In a perfect world, Maeda would love to roll to the other side of the house and leave them all separated. You can't, because it's too easy to jam that on the back. Boy, this is going to have to curl if he's going to hold the shooter at all. And there is a double on the back, too. Makes the hit.
And I think it's going to outcount. Yeah.
Quiet weight saves him. And actually, where it's at, I don't think you can make the triple. Like, you could,
no,
you can certainly make a double, but I think the middle one just dead jams.
Mm-hmm.
Is Korey looking at just hitting and rolling in front? I think that's what he's looking at. You could.
So maybe hit the middle of those 3 and then sit right in front of the one on the center line and make it difficult to even get 2 potentially. Yeah.
With that broom, I don't think that's what he's playing. I think if you were going to just play the hit and roll in front, you'd be throwing quieter weight, so you'd take a little more ice.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like a double. You make the double, you're never giving up more than 2. Having said that, you got to make the double. You hit that first one a little too thick. It's very easy to go over the top of the second one. It's thinner than it looks. Looks like he's pretty good, though. Does get the first one very thin. Comes across, catches the second. His shooter will actually roll too far, so Maeda already shot rock. It'll be a chance to draw. Just needs full 12-foot for his 2. Had the 2-point lead after the second end. A chance to restore it here with a good draw with his final stone in 4. And then you and I, Ed, will spend the whole commercial break scoreboard watching again, because every time anything switches, you got to see, okay, what does that mean to the playoffs?
Yeah. Presuming he makes the draw here, very well played in by Maeda. And, it came down to that decision relatively early in the end. We talked about whether the blank or push for 2. Went for the 2, and it played out well for him.
And such a big shot by, and I believe it was Nakahara, to pass that red stone by the 2 yellows at the back and sit 4 without losing a stone, because it would have been very easy to lose either your shooter or one of those stones at the back. He managed to keep all of them and sit 4, and that was such a great shot.
Oh yeah, wonderful shot.
Maeda with the button on his final stone picks up the 2 points. He'll take a 4-2 lead into the fifth. That Dropkin will have stone by the 2 yellows at the. One more look at this draw, I guess. Never in doubt here, and that's something that even Dropkin's team's got to put into the back of their mind, because open draw, they didn't have any worries about it. He puts it right on the pin.
Handcrafted in Canada. Join the revolution.
Everything I've worked for, everything I've sacrificed, has led to this. It's out of your hands now. All the gold medals in the world can't help you now. You could throw the perfect rock and still miss, but it just takes one. You leave it all out there on the ice to leave behind a legacy.
This is it. It all comes down to this rock. The hours in the gym, the weeks away from my family. This is what I've been training for. and all those voices trying to tear me down, I'm here to silence them. We've given everything we have for a chance to get everything we want.
Four to 2 for Takumi Maeda, regardless of what our scoreboard says, over Korey Dropkin as we begin play here in the 5th.
Looks like we're enjoying a fourth end break.
They are taking the break at the end of the 4, and we've had a chance to check around the scoreboard. Nothing else to update right now, so we'll have 5th end action for you right after the break.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Just about set to resume action here in this all-important matchup between Korey Dropkin, sitting at 2-1 atop Pool A. Takumi Maeda 3-0 atop Pool B. Both teams in line to perhaps win their own pool, but Maeda probably a stronger position. Even if they lose here and happen to lose the tiebreaker in Pool B, they would still likely be in a playoff position. Korey Dropkin, depending on the draw to the button scores, which we don't have in front of us, this might be a must-win game for him. You know, you win your pool and you're through to the playoffs. But if you lose, you drop into a tie scenario, and you may not make the playoffs at all.
Yeah, taking a second look at the standings, it's 3 wins will definitely get you in. That is guaranteed. So. Assuming, as you said, it's winners in the next 4. There can't be that many teams with 1 loss or less. So
no, that's what I was looking at. And in theory, I guess it's possible Korey Dropkin could lose this game and still theoretically end up alone in first place in Pool A too, depending on what happens in the other 2 games. But you sure wouldn't want to have to count on that.
No.
First time we've seen this start to an end in this game, but it's one of those you can almost script out the way these ends start. Center guard throwing up the start. Now Korey Dropkin calling for the corner. Maeda will ask Ryu Kamikawa to come around the center guard. Depending how well this is made, Korey might have a decision to make after this one. Both brushers on this, though, most of the way down. It's going to come up short, not going to get by either. Now, it will leave a stagger on the center guard.
And Well, Korey thought about going around his corner guard. Now he's going to be looking at going around the center. That's the argument. If you wanted to go around the corner, it's fairly easy to remove those 2 yellows with 1 shot. You can reopen the center anytime you want, but it's also, there's never going to be a run back. So
yeah, exactly. There's never going to be a run.
Take you at least 2 shots to get anything out of the center.
If you make the good one around the corner, Maeda is going to come around that staggered guard in the middle, and you're going to have to double peel, and he's going to guard for the whole end potentially.
Right.
Get there first, you cut it off. And this is not really about trying to score with this rock. It's just take away that staggered center from Maeda team for now. Comes down, sits shot rock, corner of the button. Hiroki Maeda and the Hacks will look to come down, sit on the corner of that stone, and then you might see Korey make that double peel regardless. It'll be interesting to see if he does elect for the double peel. Those 2 stones being that close together, he could make the double peel and roll to a corner on the other side if he wants to really play offense here. Or he could just try to blast them out and lose the shooter as well. A little short of the freeze. He does have good line in the 8-foot.
Yeah, the fact that it came up a little short is giving Korey a little poke here.
Yeah.
He's score now. He's got a scoring area to work with, but it looks like we're still going to open up. That rock was well placed. It being a little short maybe opened up at least the thought of we can play inside that 8-foot rock. And yeah.
Well, the one corner guard's still definitely going to be there on the next attempt. You can try to get some kind of a hit and roll, but it looks like they are trying to roll for a second corner guard on the other side.
Yeah, they're playing it without crazy weight here, enough to stick around. Well, they kept a corner, not their own, and it's just barely off center. But yeah,
a little thin.
Would have liked to have got another foot or 2 a roll on that.
Maeda will play the short run here. There's actually the potential, and you don't have last rock here, so it might not be the kind of shot you want to play, but with this quiet weight, if you happen to drive the first one just slightly across the face of the red stone, you could put both yellows behind corner guards here. This is over curling for that, though. He's going to be close to the nose. Yellow on to red. Spreads them out a little bit. There is probably a double and roll behind the yellow guard.
Yeah, at least you've set them up so that the double rolls behind both the closer guard and your own guard, which is
you don't have to play the double though.
No.
One more look at this. They played this in such a way they were hoping actually to get a little bit more separation on the yellows. And you saw Maeda himself getting ready to sweep the roll. It just stayed close to the middle. Dropkin looking for the double and the roll behind the yellow. Going to make the double, actually rolls past the yellow corner into the open. It's not a bad result, though. If Maeda makes the roll back behind the yellow, you could choose to just straight out ignore it and go around the corner guard.
Yeah, because this is going to be high enough where you can definitely bury something full or even halfway in the 8-foot and be counting.
Now, having said that, whether or not Korey Dropkin is going to want to play that aggressively in the 5th end, that's another question. In the 6th end, I'm sure he would do it.
I think he absolutely will. Just nick the guard. Well, now he will go on offense. Absolutely here.
Absolutely. But what's your offensive shot? Like that red stone is, and that's what Korey's looking at. It's just fully open. You come around the corner, they're going to make a play on the red that's open and try to roll under for shot rock. You could Christmas tree it, but you don't have a lot of room there. So they're going to opt to go around the corner guard for now.
Yeah, I think that lack of room has you at least hoping maybe it would be difficult. Not a late movement here for Maeda to get that roll. So you're at least hoping maybe if they try that, they leave you something over there. And you have time to clarify that if you bury this too.
Nice line coming by the guard. Brings that into the corner of the 8-foot. He is sitting 2 for the time being. Shot rock is just fully open. Now we saw this, I think it was in a very similar spot just 2 ends ago, and both teams really had trouble getting the last little bit of finish to roll underneath the guard.
If anything, they're tight again. Oh no, they held it well. Sorry, it's actually just not going to get the finish. Yeah,
probably had tighter line earlier than those shots we saw 2 ends ago, and they maybe got a little bit over anxious on the sweep.
Same thing I did. Yeah, just looking at it, it looked so tight. But we've seen a lot of movement on the draws, and much less on even the sort of mid-weight hits. And that spot, as you said, we saw it earlier too.
Yeah, I swear that was 2 ends ago. We saw that same spot, and both teams struggled to get inside. And that one was probably tighter line early. They didn't want to crash the guard, but now it's left a chance for Thomas Howell. If he could get to the inside roll under, he'd be sitting 2, at least partially buried. The stone on the other side is half under. They could get dead buried with this one. It might roll too far. It did. And now is there a double? Can he see enough of that to make the double?
I think he certainly can see enough of it.
Well, when it's flat like that, he's got to hit the first one really thick. He's got to hit the first one really thick. Does look like he's got probably 3/4 from the hack.
Yeah, you are right. You might have to hit pretty much hit what you can see.
Yeah,
you may not have a lot of room for error there. To make this double.
Yeah, this is the kind of shot though. If you're going to play it, you really have to go after it, because if you ever just roll into the side of that and move it a couple of inches, now Korey Dropkin hits and rolls under, and you're in danger of giving 3. Right. Like right now, you can see half of it. You'd hate to just roll over there and push it behind the guard. Makes the hit, comes across, just touches the back end of it, and he does kind of push it further in behind the guard.
Yeah, like you can see less of it now from the outside, which is the more awkward side to approach it from anyway than you could before. So, yeah, 3 definitely in play. It's interesting you were saying before, maybe Korey wouldn't want to play super aggressively in the 5th, and he definitely would in the 6th, which is absolutely true. I do think when you're down 2, the number of ends left is rapidly shrinking. If he was tied or down 1, maybe he would have played it a little more conservatively. But in either case, the aggression is paid off, because he's in a good spot to put up at minimum a deuce here, and maybe more.
So just for anybody that's not aware, and I think most of the viewers likely are, but when you see him putting the broom down like that, so he put the broom at the edge of the 8-foot first, and the discussion would have been, okay, when we took ice here, we ended up, and maybe it was splitting center. So they probably haven't thrown a draw with this exact path, so they're guessing based on how another rock ran, just how much this is going to curl. And that's the thing, in the game nowadays, when you play the 5-rock free guard zone, and there's so much of the play is right to the center line, now you get a guard that's a foot off the center line. You might only get to play this shot once or twice in an entire game. And there's a little bit of guesswork into exactly where do we need to put the broom to get in behind this guard. It's an educated guess, but it's still a bit of a guess.
Yeah, and at lower levels of play, you feel good about your educated guess. You can be off by a couple inches. With these teams, if you don't get it right, you didn't make the shot. You
leave him half a rock, and he might make the double.
Yeah.
Line looks pretty good at the hog line. It should move big coming into the house. Now the question is it going to stop in time? It's got to stop well in front of that tee line. Comes to rest. It is dead behind cover. Probably 2/3 in the 4-foot. Maeda, his 2 choices would be the run back, and it's a long run back, or just try to follow it down and hold Korey to a shot for 2. That's what he's elected to do.
key shot here. Can't bounce at all. Have to get the angle
No.
at least reasonably good here so that there's no way to remove it. Yeah.
Korey would have loved to stop that dead buried 2 feet higher. Then if you follow
Yeah.
it down, it's probably a shot for 3, but the downside to that is, all these teams so good at the run back. If you're 2 feet higher, you might force him to play the run back. Takumi Maeda had a great draw with his final stone the last end to pick up 2, put it right on the button. This time looking to follow Dropkin down, and yeah, they didn't seem panicked about the weight, and they've left that short. They were actually going back and forth on the sweep, whether or not they needed to go straight or curl, and really they needed to worry more about the weight, and that just looks like it caught them by surprise. Thomas Howell doing some housekeeping there. You wonder, did they maybe think the weight came off in an unnatural fashion?
That was my thought, the way he went right to that spot and was aggressively cleaning that one spot, that maybe they felt that the rock caught something there.
Maybe. We're only in the 5th end. You wouldn't think it would be getting flat down the middle yet.
No, it would have to be something unfortunate that caused the rock to pick.
Yeah, I'm viewing the replay myself. They weren't on that rock. There was never 2 brushers on until inside the hog line. It was mostly just clean. They were never worried about the weight. So Korey Dropkin made a nice draw with his first. Has to take a little more ice to make sure he clears that yellow. If he's full 12 foot, he's got 3. He's got a lot of weight here.
Looks okay, but yeah, just barely got to hang on in the back for the 3rd point.
Put 3 points on the board for Korey Dropkin for the first time in this game. He's got the lead. It's 5-4 for Dropkin. After 5 ends of play, Maeda will have last rock in the 6th.
Don't forget the brooms.
Yep, you got it.
Come on up. Well, what do you got? You got 1, you got 2, you got...
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Sixth end just underway here. Sean Joyce, Ed Simia with the action for you from the Saville Grand Prix here on the Curling Stadium, Edmonton. All of the action all weekend long available on the Curling Stadium Network, and commentary on selected features. It's the final draw of the men's here this afternoon as we go into the early evening. The final draw for the women's scheduled start is in about 2.5 hours time, I believe.
Yeah, I think 8:45 local time. And
then the playoffs tomorrow in both divisions. We'll have all the action for you here, so stay with us all weekend long. The Maeda team really needs a bounce back end here. They actually didn't play a bad end last end. Looked like they perhaps could get away with no worse than a deuce. And we're looking back at the replay, and the more we look at it, the more we're certain that it must have picked, although you really don't see it. It's just that they weren't brushing that last stone at all, and then suddenly both brushers down. He comes up a little short. Korey Dropkin makes a nice draw with his final one, and for the first time in the game, Maeda is actually behind.
Yeah, and setting up the corner guard to, obviously got to play for 2 here, down 1. And as you said, and for a lot of people, still the way we play at most levels of the game, this is when you really think about the fact that it's an even end. You want to get your points here and get set up to hopefully maybe force in 7 and get the hammer back at 8 with a chance to tie or win. So a deuce here would be would change the game for Maeda.
First corner guard's really tight. He could throw a second corner. He's looking at making a play on the stone into the 12-foot. And this is where the new rule makes a difference too. That center guard is not touching the center line. So you can make a play on that stone in the 12-foot. You can tight ice this a little bit, because if you happen to touch the guard, you just push it to a corner. That's not a bad result. If that first guard had been touching the center line, which is definitely where the Dropkin team wanted it, you might see a different call here, because you couldn't play it as tight. Comes down, touches that red stone back. Not able to get it behind the tee line, though. Does leave it in the top of the 4-foot. Shot rock.
Yeah, and that's going to give the Dropkin rink here a chance to wrap around again.
Again, Maeda with a record of 3-0 as we come into this draw. So he's going to have a piece of the playoffs somewhere if we've understood how they're playing that out. So, he may not necessarily play with the same degree of urgency, for instance, that Korey Dropkin has to. Just rub that yellow on the way by, enough to straighten it out, and touches off the red enough that the shooter is wide open, and there's a double and spread out the yellows. That's very unfortunate. If he gets by the yellow, the double's just not there.
Yeah, just ended up with that little touch, left that red rock in about the worst. You couldn't walk it down to a worse place, really, to make Maeda happy about this one. Like you said,
even if it stops, yellow in here. Even if it stops, instead of when it got down to the other red, it still had a little bit of weight on it, and it touched it and spun all the way out into the open, so you can see all of it now. If he stays half a rock on the freeze, this is a much tougher shot. Actually, didn't get the second red one out, but it is well back, and it's kind of in behind the corner guard. This is one more look at this shot. Looking for the double. They were back and forth on who needed to sweep. You could actually hit this a little bit thinner and try to roll with the red, but makes the hit, moves both reds, kills the top one. But look at where the other one has ended up. It's back 12-foot and in behind the corner guard. That's a rock that, Maeda might get a chance to freeze to that later. Becomes really hard to get the yellow one out if they do that. Korey Dropkin's going to want to keep the play away from there if he can. Has to hold the shooter here. Does come up enough.
Does, and yeah, the that combination of having your own corner guard and the non-hammer team's rock deep behind that corner guard is nothing but good for the hammer team. I mean, you're using both of those rocks at any chance you get around that corner, you're going to take it. And in fact, it looks like he's looking at that now. Like you hit this red and try to play a long roll.
Yeah, you could play the long roll.
He turned away from that, I think. And
you could play this as an either or, because if you roll in behind the red yellow on the center line, that's good. You're sitting 2 there. If you roll all the way over to the corner, sitting 2, that's good. But if you roll into the middle If you roll into the open between the two guards, Korey Dropkin can't roll back to the middle because he'd be risking jamming on that red at the back 12.
Right.
So they can play this pretty aggressively. If they happen to overroll the two in the middle, it's not a bad shot. The only thing you can't afford to do here is underroll. That's not bad where it is. I mean, Korey can play the roll to the middle, but you got to be careful.
Yeah, the angle might be good enough that you can, with a little bit of weight, you can do it. You can throw the weight so that if you don't dead jam, you make sure you'll lose the yellow off your red in the back there, which you'd actually be very happy about. But
true.
Definitely jam possibilities. That angle is definitely there to get the dead jam. Yeah.
Thomas Howell looking for the hit. Try to roll undercover, and he has to pass this yellow by that red at the back of the 12-foot. Throwing that little bit extra weight to make sure they get by the red at the back. They hit too close to the nose, stays right there.
Yeah, I think just a safe throw with the extra weight. Again, the yellow touches the red. You want to make sure the yellow still leaves the house, and maybe, that kind of influences you into throwing up weight a bit there.
Nakahara looking for the hit and roll to the corner. He's not quite going to get undercover, but it presents that same problem for Korey Dropkin to try to roll back to the middle. He'd be risking the jam.
Yeah, I think the angle's more challenging than the last one for sure.
Yeah, he did ask. You saw him go up to the front, put his broom down in front of that rock. He was trying to get an idea from the hack end how much of that stone in the top of the 12-foot they can see.
Mm-hmm.
It's really thin to try the double. I think what he's wondering, can we see enough to hit and stay somewhere?
Yeah, maybe leave yourself with two rocks that are usable in the front of the center of the ice. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure you get much by staying, though. If you're going to play this one, you almost have to go for the double, right? Like, if you stay, you're not going to shot rock.
In sort of a, in a theoretical sense, sure, you love having that open rock there right outside the rings or at the top of the rings, but in this case, I don't think Maeda's ever playing back to the center anyway.
Oh, no.
Just thins it.
Definitely was playing for the double. Got the first one far too thin. Not even enough to kill it. That's interesting. I don't know if you caught that. Nakahara in the house just threw his arms up. It's like, okay, now what do we do?
Yeah.
They've already got the house split, but where do you put the third one? You want to be careful not to leave something here.
Yeah, if you're up one or maybe even tied, you might just get rid of the center guard, but they really want to. Now you got to go for try to set up a three here. Yeah,
tough to peel.
It's tough peel anyway. Yeah, there's not much.
There's jams on both sides, right?
Yeah.
Now that stone in the 8-foot is wide open too, and now nothing to jam on at the back. So Korey Dropkin's got the roll back to the center line off that. You have to be careful not to put this stone deep enough that you leave him a double that would stay in behind cover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the sweep was about there. I think they feel this is heavy and we're trying to tick off their own. It is definitely heavy.
There are worse things than going that deep with your third rock. Maybe you want to put it just sweep it all the way to the back at that point and make these angles even tougher for a double. But
it gives Korey options off that stone on the other side of the 8-foot, though. He can play the hit and roll behind the center, and if he's a little thin on the first one, he rolls into that stone.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking maybe, they kind of left it where it is, there's nothing to out count. You could take that way back where it's even harder for Korey to use it against you. But even there, the angle's not bad. But you're right; he could end up rolling just in front of it. I mean, he's not going to play for the double.
No, he's going to play the hit and roll behind center, I think.
Right.
And it's if you're a little thin on the first one, that's where you should end up, is either in front of it or right into it. Part of the question here will be how hard you want to throw it, because you're trying to make, if you're trying to roll behind cover, it's still a 4-foot roll. It's tough to make that with bumper weight. You probably have to throw at least control.
Yeah.
You don't dare under roll it. If you over roll it, like I said, you're into that yellow somewhere.
Minimum roll has to be partially under the center guard. You can't go less than that. You can't leave it completely open.
Yeah, looking at the piece they're looking at to hit, I think they're trying to go into the yellow. It doesn't look like they're trying to just stop behind center. They seem to be indicating a fairly thin piece on this. Korey Dropkin with his first here in the 6th. Took the lead for the first time last end with 3 points, trying not to give them back right here. Makes the hit. It comes across and right by everything.
Yeah, we never got to that point in the discussion of exactly how you wanted to throw it. But of course, as much as you said, you have to throw more weight and bumper probably to get the roll. When you add more weight, that's the risk, right? You don't hit it right. It's a lot easier to roll through the house on that one when you bring the weight up. And now,
well, I think they got caught between what they were playing too.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I would have played to roll towards the yellow one. If you're already playing that longer roll, the potential for what just happened is there. You play the roll behind the center guard, you hit it a little thin, you're into the yellow.
Yeah, I think more good outcomes with
I think they were playing into the yellow all the way, yeah.
Yeah.
So Maeda now with his first will try to come behind that corner guard. Even if he makes this, Korey's going to have a way out with some kind of a freeze, but it's a freeze against potentially the loss. Now, this is a long ways by the guard, though. He could still leave him a double.
Yeah, that's
did not bury
that's a much
that.
Better angle than the last one for sure.
Yeah, this is more of a natural angle to go after the double. You make the double, you're never giving up more than 2. There's still the potential to hit this too thick, not get the second one, though. There is room, I think, to go over the top.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you just a little too much with the weight you're going to throw, and it'll go right over the top. And
yeah, he doesn't need to throw this a whole lot harder than the last one. Probably a little bit harder. You'd hate to go into the side of it and not get it out of the rings. But, it's not like he's got to whip it.
No. And with not whipping it, if they know it's going to hit a little thick, they can always, try to play something that lands either in front of the yellow or the behind the red, although that's definitely not the shot here, obviously playing for the double.
Korey Dropkin, final stone. They've got the inside brush on early. Makes the hit, comes across, does get the second stone. Now, where's the shooter going to end up? It's spinning up. He might get in behind the yellow. Boy, that's a great shot.
Yeah, they were looking for that, and I didn't know if you could make that to count and be partially buried, but they did. That's a heck of a shot. Does leave about half the stone, so Maeda has a shot for sure, but couldn't do that much better. Great effort there.
One more look at this. Hits the first one, comes across the top of that second yellow, and then Thomas Howell ready with the brush as that rock spinning, gets it in probably half behind the yellow. There's always going to be a shot for 2 here. He could play the yellow back and try to get 2 that way, or he's going to try to get at the red directly. Lots of room, but it is a much more delicate shot than it could have been. And there's the potential for either a rollout, or even if he ever touched that yellow, it could be a steal.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of ways to end up with only 1, too, also by touching the yellow in front and, rolling in. It's a very difficult shot here to finish off the end.
Throwing weight for just basically a heavy draw. I would think with this, if he touches the yellow, he probably rolls in for 1, as you said. This has got a curl to make contact. They're working it. It's close. He's going to hit it very thin. Is he going to move it far enough? No.
Don't think so. Just the 1 yellow.
He needed to hit it a little bit thicker with that amount of weight. So it's just 1 point for Maeda. We're all tied up after 6 ends of play. Dropkin and Maeda 5-all. It'll be Dropkin with last rock in the 7th.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
All tied up at 5 apiece as we begin play here in the 7th end. At least 2 ends left to play, and you'd have to think possibly 3, and what the heck, there's even the possibility it could be 4 left to play. Center guard throwing up to start the end, and it is splitting the center line, so Korey Dropkin asking for the come around. That comes to rest top of the 4-foot. Maeda will look
for kind of the soft 2 approach. You leave your blank options open, and if it sets up to get a deuce, you take your deuce here. But
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how both teams want to play this. You may see Maeda look at this end as though we can't afford to give up a blank. And I've always talked to teams, and you have to be open to the idea that if the other team is going to try to force you, let them force you to 3.
Yeah.
Well, and I laugh. I say
You're
it
not wrong.
No. I say it facetiously as well, but I mean, it happens in this situation so often. You get a team in this situation that Maeda's in, and they're so determined to make sure you can't blank the end, and it can go wrong because you have to be willing to risk ignoring some rocks to do that.
Yeah. You just saw in that shot, the lead very disappointed because the bouncing off there now. Dropkin can hit, roll around again, and they're still in that position, but they're still in a position where they're not leaving that much in play, but they're the ones threatening to score. And if you clean up the center, it turns back into a blank now. You don't have that yellow rock there. Well, this is coming in nicely. That's a nicely placed rock. You said, we'll have at least we have 2, 3, or even 4 more ends. I think Corey's already had one, or was that was that Corey or John Schuster a couple weeks ago who had a someone played a 10th end, I know.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
It might have been Dropkin playing. I'll find it real quick.
I know he's
already
already
been Dropkin and Gushu at a tour event. Yeah.
I know Dropkin's already played an extra end in this event. He lost his first game in an opening end, or an extra end, and that's the only game he's lost so far.
Yeah, at the Henderson Medal 2 weeks ago, Korey had a hit and stick for the win, rolled out in the 9th. They had to play the 10th, and then Gushu ended up stealing in 10th. So, yeah. Just to prove that it does happen. Yeah.
Sixth stone of the end, Korey Dropkin elects to make the play on the center guard. So just the 4 stones in the rings right now.
And Maeda looking for a guard here is absolutely what we were talking about. Does not want to allow the blank opportunity. Would rather risk giving up a point or 2 here than...
You know, there's an argument to be made that you might be better off giving up 2 than to give up the blank. That the danger is you could give up 3 when you think like that.
Right.
But
exactly.
you give up 2, you've got the hammer in the 8th. You like your chances to get 2 if you're playing aggressively to score. And you know what? In a 5 rock free guard zone, 3s happen all the time, especially if you're going to throw the 2 guards. As much
I know
as
the numbers are,
Yeah, the numbers aren't horrible anymore, especially with the no tick zone. If you go home tied up without, I mean, it's as close to 50-50 as it's ever been in the history of the game. But the team with last rock still has the advantage, ever so slightly.
Sure.
Not going to be a lot of decisions now for the Dropkin team. They've already committed. They're going to peel guards. Maeda was going to throw it on the last.
Chances here.
No.
Yeah.
And I think Maeda has to throw at least 1 more, maybe 2, before you make the play in the rings. Then the question is going to be, what is that play going to be? Because the red, yellow in the middle is still kind of all overlapped. You could play the double tap on the yellow, I guess. You don't want to move it very far. You might leave a triple to sit 3. There are no good angles in the house for Maeda. I guess that's where the problem lies for him right now.
Yeah.
There's no way to double the reds as they sit right now and try to sit 3 and get the force.
And with those angles,
there's not great angles for the tap on the yellows either. I mean, you could leave a triple a lot easier than you could get anything good out of it.
Right. Yeah, the combination of the angles and the scoreboard just make this an incredibly easy end to play from Dropkin's perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Everything's in the 4-foot. I don't think you could just come around everything. You'd be too deep. That's not going to help you.
Yeah. So now they're looking at playing and maybe, if you get a roll away, maybe
change the angles. So you'll kill the back red playing this one, and he doesn't want to kill his own yellow, but he's going to have to move some stuff. You know, you look at that red, the way it's kind of in the pocket between the red and the yellow behind it. So you make the hit. Roll your shooter to the open side. You're only going to lose the back red. You might move that yellow over, which honestly at this point in time probably helps Maeda. You could sit 2nd, 3rd, and 4th off this. Boy, they're going to have to go to hold this straight. You don't want to leave all the yellows grouped in the middle.
I think that's what they're getting, though. Well, around the red, but yeah.
Korey looking at the triple.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's there. I'm not sure you have to play it either, but you could make a double for sure.
I think the double is a great play here, and if the angle was natural for the triple there, of course, but I think you're right that to make the double you want to make, you're probably coming over the top of the back. Might be there.
Well, yeah, I'd be more worried about jamming it and rolling over to the corner. So
yes.
What he just indicated. You put it over there. Maeda makes the double and the house is split, and now you're forced.
Yeah, even
that hit on the yellow that they're talking about, just hit and roll back to kind of the same position, is not a bad result either.
Right, even if you leave yellow sitting one for now, you're threatening to blow open the game.
Is the nose hit on the open yellow bad? Just stay right there?
No, I don't think there's a double back. I think you...
And if he goes after shot rock, he can't really go after shot rock then, because then he leaves the double on the yellows.
Yeah, then you're leaving them very grouped, and yeah. Yeah, if you can hold the red, that's a great shot.
That's the best shot if you can make it.
Yeah.
But it's not without some risk, because you could leave that top yellow could just stay over in the edge of the 12-foot. If you leave a double on the red's back,
right
now the house
or
is
you don't
split.
Yeah. You can also leave the yellow sitting second and your other red's third, and then they just have a hit and roll away.
Well, yes,
once it's split. There's lots of ways that it could result in a force if it goes wrong. Yeah.
Here's the other
but
side.
But you make it right,
debate.
Like you said, great shot. Yeah.
Here's the other side of that debate. I'm going to put you on the spot, Ed. Let's say it gets down to the end. This doesn't go exactly according to plan, and it gets down to the end of this end, and Maeda's sitting two. If you're Korey Dropkin, do you give him one?
Well, isn't that the question, right?
If somebody's going to have to take one, you can hit and roll out if that's the.
I am still of the opinion of you take your point.
Oh,
and,
just hung on to the 12-foot.
Just hung it on though, so now you might be in a forced situation, so close to just a perfect spot.
One more look at it. Great shot by Thomas Howell. He took a good run at it. Needed to be just a hair thinner on the first one. Jammed it a little bit too solid. It hangs on for a bite at the edge of the 12. Still, this double has to be made, and it's not a gimme. Same issue for Maeda, really. He's got to make sure he pushes that second stone all the way out of the rings. Makes the hit, comes across, does drive it all the way out the side. Another look at this double. Easily gets the second one through the rings. Korey Dropkin looking at, now I wonder, do you ever look at just a nose hit here? You hope Maeda noses it back, and then do you try the double for the blank?
Ooh, yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's not.
And if you roll out, it's one the other way.
Roll a little, yeah.
If you roll away, I don't think you're ever going to have that chance. You're going to have to make that.
No, maybe. I mean,
you're going to have to make that decision that I asked you about, Ed. You haven't.
Yeah, no, I did. I started to, and then we started discussing
the shot. Yeah.
I would take the one. I think the number of support. It certainly can be a team decision, and these teams know what position they're better in, or at least they have an idea of what they think they're better in.
I'll tell you
it's funny before the 5 rock rule, and it was a little bit more it's close to like 60-40 for the overall numbers of, being one up without. And I made a comment once that someone did not love, and I stood, but I was like, it just makes sense. I said, I'm not saying every team's wrong, but it seems like every team wants to be down one with, but they're losing most of the games. So some of these teams have to be wrong. Some of them may well be right, but now it's even closer to a 50-50, especially at the high level. I mean,
and I think it comes down to, it's not just necessarily even the team
and your opponent.
It comes down to the team, the opponent, the game in question, the ice and the rock conditions that you're playing with. In this game, on this ice at the Saville Center, I think I would take the hammer. We've seen lots of chances to generate points in this game. And we know you can come around on this ice for sure. So,
absolutely,
we've seen,
and we've already
seen 3 crooked numbers already.
Several multiples in this game, so we know there's a good shot at getting your 2. And because you can come around, you're not out of the game if you get your 1 with hammer.
Maeda had a chance for 2 last end as well with his last one, so it could have been 4 crooked numbers in this game. We've seen 3.
Certainly you're not out of the game on ice like this, and from what we've seen, if you are in a position where you have to steal in 9, so
well, with that little roll, there's not going to be a double there, so Korey Dropkin's going to have to make that decision.
See what they think about their all the factors that go into this. Must be a close decision for them too, because they're really talking about it. They don't have a strong feeling one way or the other themselves, it seems like. But with that little ice, I imagine, who knows? You could just, it's not curling much when you throw a big weight. We'll find out when he throws the rock.
You can throw bumper weight with this broom and play for the nose hit. So
yeah, exactly.
This is the spot, again, we talked about it 2 ends ago. This is the same spot where, 4 ends ago, nobody could get to the inside. So it's not going to move big here. You could play that broom with quiet weight for the nose hit, or you could play that broom and throw the bigger weight, which Korey throws very well, and just hit and roll out. We won't know till we see how hard he kicks.
They're playing for 1 here.
Looks like it, yeah.
Right on the nose. Looks like they're trying to hold it here. Yeah. So they'll take the lead going to 8.
Korey Dropkin with the single point here in the 7th end. He's got the 1-point lead. It'll be Takumi Maeda with last rock in the 8th.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Bonspiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference. Together, we can...
Sean Joyce, Ed Simia with you here live. 8th end action. Men's round robin, final draw of the round robin. still looking to determine who's going to be on to the playoffs. Korey Dropkin with a 1-point lead here as we begin the 8th end. Takumi Maeda with last rock. Center guard thrown up. It does split the line. Kamikawa now,
which, as you said, is critical now.
Yeah.
Getting that with the new rules, it's a big bonus for hitting that center line here.
Kamikawa throwing the corner guard. Now, he only needs to score 2 here for the win, so I don't know for sure that he'll necessarily throw 2 corners. It's hard to ignore that many stones in the middle.
Yeah, and down 1 with Dropkin throwing a center guard, that leaves you with other guards to potentially use. If you have to, you don't want to play there, you may not have to throw that second guard, like you said. There's going to be opportunities for you to find spots to score, even if your corner falls apart, you're not out of the end here.
That was interesting. A little discussion there. First indication from Korey Dropkin is they're going to throw the tight center. They had a brief discussion. I don't know whether they're coming right in or if they're throwing the second center guard. It's a kind of an aggressive way to play it, but when you're only 1 point up, this might be your way to force the play to the middle.
Absolutely. And often if you have it in your mind that you're going to play to force you, as you were saying, it's the same idea. You might force them to 2 or 3. If you play to threaten a steal, you are probably more likely to end up giving up just 1. Now, as long as you don't go too hard, as long as you keep in mind what the actual situation is. Yeah, you put the hammer team in more pressure situations and limit their ability to just run roughshod and sort of controlling how the end plays out.
Certainly forces Maeda's hand here. He's got to play the come around.
Yeah.
You play this through for the next couple of shots. You make a good come around to the top of the forefoot. Dropkin's going to follow it down. Got nice line coming by here. You want to maybe just bite the forefoot here. I don't think you want to be too deep. Full 8 foot.
Fine for now.
Yeah, decision time though for Korey Dropkin. They've left him room to come around on the intern side, get underneath everything for shot rock. That's what he's looking at. You play the freeze on the yellow, there's still a lot of house available.
Yeah, I'm a little scared of playing the freeze there, that you're allowing the scoring area to stay pretty big with a lot of guards in play. And
yeah,
there may be a lot of opportunities for Maeda to get his deuce if you play that way.
Looking for the intern come around. This is getting tight to the guard. They don't seem like they want to sweep this a lot, though, so maybe a little deep. Trying to bring it back at the end, I think, perhaps thinking maybe we want to make sure there's room for 2.
Sure.
Comes to the back corner of the button. Maeda looking at making a play on the tighter of the 2 center guards.
Yeah, that's the more dangerous of the guards for sure. Yeah, and going to the back of the button, nothing wrong with that for Dropkin there. I think maybe for newer curlers or people who don't really think about the play in the house, kind of conflate doing that with and without the hammer. Very different situation without the hammer. You're okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's okay with being back there. It shrinks the scoring area, and it keeps the play eventually has to come to the middle.
Absolutely, yeah.
Boy, this is a nice looking shot here. Makes the tap, gets it well to the back, and the shooter gets a little spin at the end to stay in the rings.
Yeah, that could be your second point at the end of the end. That's
one more look at this, and there's so many things to look at here. When he's got to hit it this thin, he's trying to pass it by the yellow in the top of the 8 foot, which he does, just gets it by that one. The shooter manages to hang on for a bite. Does leave the red at the back of the 12, but if again it's behind the tee line, that's not a bad spot for Maeda. That's a rock that might help him later on.
Yeah, if you have to throw a freeze, it's there without risking clogging up the center of the ice. You might be able to threaten too, but
could
you
be
have
a
one in the
capture.
back pocket. Yep.
Could be a catcher if you're throwing a hit later on, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly not a spot where it's going to get any better for Korey Dropkin, so...
Yeah.
He's looking at playing the freeze on the yellow. They talked about a guard as well. You kind of get both with the corner freeze. If you're playing the guard for now, you're doing so thinking that they're going to peel it.
Sure.
Now, at that, they're going to peel it towards that red stone at the back, and if they happen to clip it out, now they're sitting second and third, and you're one rock closer to perhaps losing this game here. You can't guard for the rest of the end because, I mean, if this was Corey's last shot, you just threw the guard, Maeda's going to throw the angle run in for the
angle
win.
run for the win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of shot where you're playing this now knowing that they're going to peel and putting off your decision until later in the end as to what you're going to do about the rocks in the house.
Yeah, it's patient. It shortens the end.
Yep.
It hopefully gives the Hammer team fewer opportunities to develop the end in their favor.
So Andrew Stapero looking for the guard here. You do have to get a little bit of separation between these two guards. You don't want to leave an easy double peel. Well, this is going to overcurl. And it's nice and high. If they want to play the double peel, it's there. This is the side they can play it from without hurting themselves, really. Maeda's first thought is to play the freeze. The problem with the freeze is you've really got a small house.
Yeah, you're committing to playing in the 4 foot, pretty much on the button, really.
In the button, yeah.
Circle at that point, yeah.
Tough to score 2 on the button.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, I don't know the Maeda team really well. I don't know how good they are at the big weight, but if you can throw the weight here, 3/4 of rock on the one that was just thrown, both reds are going towards the corner. Well, one red's going towards the corner and the shooter's going towards the corner. The one that's on the center line, you might even get lucky and pick that one off the back 12.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could open up the center line here.
Yeah, big advantage if you can do that.
Yeah, because Korey Dropkin can't really play the one on the 8 foot and roll to the open side. He's got to, because he can't risk the jam.
Right.
Like that's the shot if you can make it. Now, if you're not strong at the big weight, maybe you have to look at something else.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you want to
play
the
only thing you can say about the freeze is that, Dropkin, if you make this great, Dropkin's never going to feel comfortable the rest of the end either. But
Dropkin's going to follow it down though, and then how do you score?
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna have the opportunity to make shots that force you.
Like if you could get there with enough weight to move the red and roll into the open, that's great. But I don't think you can.
Yeah, even with that high guard, it's
maybe
the shots with the shots with any weight really aren't moving a tremendous amount.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could throw hack weight and get there and roll into the back of the 8 foot in the open, I need Hiroki Maeda to move out of the way to see how overburied that rock is. But yeah, see, that's a good half a rock overburied. I don't know if you can get there with enough weight to move it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you probably can, but you got to flirt with the guard.
Right.
to throw hack weight
I
at
mean,
that.
certainly, I
The
think
hack
you
weight
can move
just
the
doesn't
red
move as
rock.
much.
It's how much and
Yeah.
just one. Yeah.
You've got to get it out of the 8-foot if you're going to play that. So you
Right.
got to have backline to hack minimum. So going to play the freeze. We play this through. Korey Dropkin will follow it down. I mean, I guess at the very worst, you're going to still have that angle running. If you make the freeze and don't move the red, your Yellowstone's never going anywhere. So that angle running is always for, at worst, the tie.
True.
Going to move it a bit.
Okay. You have at least moved it off to the back of the 4-foot there. So you're forcing Team Dropkin here to make a very accurate shot here, or else the deuce is very, very much in play.
Well, it's still the same issue with that rock off the corner, too. If Korey just freezes onto this, the angle is still going to be set up so that any kind of running on that corner Yellowstone,
right,
the yellow that's still sitting there is still going to jam on the back red. I don't think there's anywhere you can make this freeze where it's not going to be angled to jam on the back. So you want to almost lock this on the corner. You're not going to get shot rock. You have to lock it on the corner where they can't get this red out.
Yeah, the high side corner where the angle run ends up.
Yeah.
And both the angle run and the come around are just going to jam it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think you want to be right to the nose here. You want to stay just a hair to the high side. Line's great. They probably didn't need to move that. Now Maeda going to look to peel the center guards.
Yeah, if he opens up the center, he's going to leave himself a lot of ways to get rid of that red rock. That is the second counter right now, or the first
he
counter.
Is,
I think it's the second counter.
But I think Dropkin's going to play the double on the yellows.
Probably, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is more or less just a nose double here.
It's a nose hit. It has to be made. I mean, there's some risk, but this team hits so well.
Yeah.
And what he's looking at there, if we happen to overcurl it, miss the second one, that's not a bad result either. Yeah, the only way you get in trouble here is if you undercurl or set this back a little bit and clip the red out of the top of the 4-foot. Not going to be able to hold the line. It just overcurled on them. Well, decision time now for Maeda. You could hit the red on the nose, make the double, but you could do that later too. He's looking at hitting the stone out in the edge of the 12-foot, and that brings the one on the other edge of the 12 back into play.
Yeah, that absolutely means that, if you ever deal with the center, you will have a second point on one of the corners at least. And I was looking at what he's looking at now too, that you can even maybe kill two birds with one stone here, play this double, and now you're sitting 1-3-4 with...
That double's pretty thick. You could almost triple the reds playing this.
Almost, yeah. Yeah, all you got to do is touch your yellow, right?
Yeah. Mind you, is that necessarily the best way to play it? Like, if you hit the open red one, and I can understand why he looked at that first, what does Korey Dropkin do with the next one?
Yeah, do you just have to come down to the and play something like what they're saying, a little... maybe that's what they're worried about. He's going to play a little tap or something. I mean, you can also...
Yeah, I'm looking at the angles now. From the overhead.
I don't think it's the triples.
Yeah, the triple's not there because it's too thin on the first one.
Choose to double the 2 in the center as well. Your yellows will stick around. I don't know but I think you leave a double back if you do that.
Well, you do, but then you're one double away from game over.
Right.
I don't hate his decision because you are shot rock right now if you're Maeda. I don't hate the decision to go over there and hit what is fourth shot stone. What does Korey Dropkin do?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to...
The two reds that are there, there's a double on them.
Right.
See, you can't just guard them because you're not shot rock. I mean,
you're gonna. I think you have to play a little tap onto the try to freeze something onto that yellow. I don't know what else you would play. It's not that I love that shot. I just don't know.
Yeah, hard not to leave a triple doing that.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to is you hit this rock because now it brings that one on the other 12 foot back into play. Everything in the middle is grouped. If you had to throw something in the middle and blast, these two biters around the edge could be the 2 points that win the game. So just make the easy shot and force Korey Dropkin into a tough decision. What's he going to play? Sure. Boy, you don't want to roll to the middle here.
No.
Can you corner freeze the stone at the back of the button now? Because if you're close to it, it's never leaving. I don't love the hit on the wide one.
No,
they're going to call timeout.
If that red rock was just a few inches over, you could probably double the yellows the other way, but I don't like it here because just, I mean, I don't know.
You could tap the red to the corner freeze on the yellow, that's for sure. Yeah,
well, yeah, that was my first thought before.
Problem still is that you might change the angles in the house. You could leave a triple, yeah. I'm just wondering, can you get to right there on the out turn?
Yeah, I'm sure
you could. If you could corner freeze that yellow, I don't think the red ever leaves.
No, because it goes right into that other yellow.
Yeah, the yellow ended up in a bad spot. They did not want to roll in like that.
Yeah.
That hitting the yellow coming over and moving the red, that actually does not help you.
No. Yeah, that where that yellow ended up, I think you have the right idea there, which is just quarter to half freeze on that yellow, and it's not going anywhere. I mean, it's not an easy shot
and if you don't think you could do it, you could play the tap up to make it that way, but that's
right,
tougher shot when you're playing to tap a rock up only a foot, and you've got to get it perfectly welded on the corner.
Yeah,
but it's definitely there, and that the question is, can you freeze enough of that yellow rock? That's the question. Can he freeze enough of that yellow rock at the back of the button to make sure that it's going into the yellow at the side of the 8 foot? It looks like you can, but it's hard to tell from an overhead. You'd hate to play it and be wrong because it probably leaves a triple on the reds to sit 3, maybe 4, right. and then you're freezing for your life.
Even looking at the guard, huh? Like,
yeah,
because you don't have to guard the whole rock. You have to take away enough that the only angle on it is straight into that yellow, I guess. So there is some you might be able to do that. Although if Maeda is 1, which we think he is, it's as you said, then you're leaving a potential for them just
to freeze. Yeah, I don't think they're going to play that. I think part of the issue is they're looking at the taps and the freezes and thinking he's got a couple of shots to blast out. You could throw the guard here. I think if you do, Maeda peels the guard, and then you play whatever tap you're looking at or freeze with your last one, and he can't just blast and give up the chance of a steal, perhaps. So that might be the thinking here. Throw the guard, let him peel it, and then play our aggressive shot with the last one. They're never guarding with the last one because it's a draw.
Oh no,
Yeah.
not for certainly no.
So this is just a put off the decision type of shot. Now, that's always the fun part of these decisions, is because Maeda knows that too. I don't think he's going to draw the button, but he could. And then you might not have a shot.
Like you're certainly giving him that option when you play this way.
Yeah, it's hard for him not to leave a double if you do that, though. So
I think you're right.
I'm not too worried about it, but you'd hate to overcurl this. This is going to be really high. Too high, I would say. If I'm Maeda, I'm coming around with the out turn and try to move that red back. He's got plenty of room.
Yep, just tap it to there, or leave it as yeah, for sure.
Korey had great line. He just needed that 6 inches deep, or 6 feet deeper at least.
Feet deeper, yeah.
I don't think they're debating more than one shot here. I think this is the whole question here will be, how much weight do we throw? How far are we trying to move it? Where do we want the shooter to end up? That'll be everything they're discussing right now. You can get pretty close to the nose of this. Even if you touch the yellow on the way by, it's still going to be on the back red one. You'd like to leave your shooter probably half buried, just maybe so roll to just touch center line would be great. Then he can't freeze that back one, really.
Yeah, just to make sure you move the red far enough. I mean, or move the red not to where you leave a
pocket.
A pocket where you can sit one and just there's no way to get rid of the rock, you know.
Certainly, though, with that guard as high as it is, I think there's plenty of room to do that.
Oh, for sure. I think you can get there with the weight you need.
Okay, decisions made. Discussion's over. Takumi Maeda in the hacks. Throw his first here in the 8th end. Needs 2 points for the win. Chance for the tap back on the red here with his first. Could set up that opportunity. Inside brusher down early, but really just cleaning at this point. Once they're sure they're by, you actually might see them switch to the offside sweep and get some extra curl. This is coming by nice. He's got a nice line now. The question is going to be, how far does he move it? They might have let this curl too much. Ooh. Taps it up. Yeah, they definitely let that over curl. Could have been on the brush for weight, too. I'm not sure who shot rock.
Yeah, no, it did. You could tell just the way it was curling late that a lot of weight came off of that. Again, this was not as dramatic as the time we remember, but there have been a couple times they've been a little off on how much weight was going to come off in the last 15 feet or so, you know.
I'm not sure who's got shot, and they're not going to point at it, but Korey's looking at the same shot I am. I think Maeda might be shot, and if you just guard everything and try to take the draw away, Maeda he can come off the yellow onto the red that's just at the back of the 8 foot and definitely kick the yellow in front of it and move that red out the side of the 4 foot.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to put another rock in play here.
I think so.
Don't mean in play. That's relevant to the button here. And I don't think there's anything you can throw where Maeda doesn't have a shot, because
That's the problem. That's
Yeah.
the scary thing here. You don't want to leave it too easy, but you're right. He's always going to have a shot. He might have to make a decision. I mean, if you get to the corner of the button, he's going to make a decision. Does he, like at the very least, he's got the angle run in onto that stone that he was just through, and he might be able to double the reds depending where this ends up. Does he want to take that on? Now, if you put this in the wrong spot, that might be the only shot he's got.
Right.
But it's for the win. You
Yeah.
want to force the other guy to play the shot for the win. Can't afford to be heavy here, because if he spills off that yellow, probably leaves a double. Short doesn't change anything. There's not a lot of room for error here. Korey Dropkin with his final stone, leading by 1. Hard to tell who's shot right now, trying to come into that 4-foot area with his final stone. This has got a ton of room.
Sweepers want nothing to do with it either.
It's got a ton of room and a ton of weight. We'll go right by everything. So now Maeda's going to have to make a decision. Who's got shot rock?
Mm-hmm.
If he thinks he's shot rock, he could just draw. It's close.
I've seen a couple of them point at the red rock. They don't seem to be confident they're one, at the very least.
You know, one of the things that I've always found, it's really tough for us, commentators looking at an overhead camera, when you've got that rings that you're looking at is the same color as one of the stones.
Yeah.
It gives you a distorted view of it. And in this case, we've got a yellow 4-foot circle and yellow rocks. It's really tough to tell who shot rock. They're playing the same shot, so they must think there's a chance that Dropkin's shot. Now, having said that, they did just make this shot. If he hits it exactly the same, it's for 2. And really, that's probably not any harder than the straight draw.
No, if anything, I mean, you might have a little bit more margin for error on this shot. Not by much, but yeah.
Well, they've had to go to the offside sweep early on this one. He's got a lot of room by the guard. They got to get close to the nose on this tap.
It's coming.
Going to make the tap on the yellow. Makes the tap on the red. Does pass it by enough. Maeda will pick up his 2 points here, and that gives him the win. Takumi Maeda with a win here in the final draw round robin, moves to a perfect 4-0 through round robin play, and that'll put him through to the playoffs. Korey Dropkin with the loss goes to 2-2, and he'll have to do some scoreboard watching, and then it might come down to that draw to the button for the tiebreaker. One more look at this last stone. A little more weight, I think, than his first one, and it was hanging out early. You see them go to the offside sweep very early. Gets nice finish coming into the house, and that's that angle we had talked about the whole end. If you touch that yellow, it was always just going to rest up against that red at the back.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, same shot he had just thrown, just with intentionally with a little more weight to make sure you move that red enough, and couldn't have made it better. And good sweep call early to get the offside sweeper on.
Well, exciting game here for us. Hope you all enjoyed it from the Saville Grand Prix last draw of the men's round robin. We're not going to know for a little while yet who's made the playoffs. Women's action in about an hour and a half, I believe it is. That'll be the last draw of the round robin then. And all of the playoff action starting tomorrow morning here from Edmonton. We'll have all of the action for you on the Curling Stadium Edmonton. All the games available streaming and commentary on selected features. We thank you for joining us here tonight. Sean Joyce, Ed Simia. We'll be back with you shortly for the last draw of the women's round robin.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.